Hey, go people. I shouldn't laugh at this story. This isn't a funny story. I just thought the ending of one of the videos was funny. But I can't laugh on YouTube because laughing at something that YouTube doesn't think is funny can get you strike, banned, whatever. Welcome to freedom on YouTube. And they're trying to promote YouTube TV. They'll be shoving more to left. Never mind, I digress. Let's get to this video here. So, a Raleigh man was beaten by officers during arrest, files a lawsuit. And here is one video of that arrest. So the things I want you to notice here is how many officers are here, because when government is there to protect and serve you, you're going to get some protecting and serving whether you want it or not. So all these cops, Rick, there's only 2 cops there. Yeah, wait till it happens. It looks like a freaking football huddle. All right, so the story is a man's in the middle of the road yelling and acting crazy. Now, I'm not a fan of these stripes on the pants and these stripes on the belt. To me, it looks very Nazi-ish. But the way cops acting now, it's probably appropriate. All right, let's watch this video here. I'm going to turn down the sound because you don't hear anything but this humming. Look at that nice stripe. Isn't that just like the Nazis wore? Rick, you can't say that. Okay, whatever. So the guy's yelling. Now, you don't see it in this footage, but there's a K-9 officer that shows up. I might mention, he was follically challenged. And he uses his dog. And this is the guy that gets charged. And these cops end up testifying against him. Well, they sort of testify against him. They give short answers. The DA did a pretty good job at going after this cop. I wish the DAs did this all the time for cops that do this shit, but most DAs don't. So I'll give this DA props for doing it. Look at all these cops. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's a black man there, so I don't want to hear about all the racial, these are all white people beating up a black dude. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This guy's got his dog in here chewing on this guy. He just punched him in the head. Did y'all see that? My mouse might have been in the way. The guy in a black uniform, bald head, with a dog, gets a punch in here. 18 officers hold him, punched in the head. His dog's chewing on his arm. But Rick, these officers were in fear of their safety and they're heroes. And why are you always picking on cops? Because cops are out here earning the hate, doing this shit every day in every city across this country. And people want to make it about a race and want to make it about 1 or 2 bad cops. And they don't want to address the culture of this aggressive, animalistic, we are in power, we are protected, we can't get sued, we can't get in trouble, we can do whatever the hell we want to you pesky citizens, and you have no control over us. You don't control your politicians, you don't control the laws, and you damn sure don't control the cops with the police badges and their guns. But we need to tell you, you need to give up your guns so we can protect you, because you don't need guns. Only us, these people, protecting and serving you, need guns. You don't need guns to protect yourself against these people, because if you have a gun, it'll make us in fear of our life, and then we'll shoot you for no reason. I'm just so fed up with law enforcement and the attitude and the behavior, and even the cops that are defending it. You rarely hear a cop speak out against this, and it's just disgusting to me that somebody can claim themselves to be a cop and then not stand up against tyranny and bully. And, you know, this guy doesn't have a chance. Now, this guy's still trying to figure out a way to get in between all these people, get his dog a bite. Now, I was a dog handler for many years, and when there was this many cops here, I would just go put my dog in a car and let the cops handle it. And then if I wanted to put my dog in a car, I would come back and help them without using my dog. I don't have to keep my dog with me. Now, there was one dog that if I put him in a car and we were fighting on the outside of the car, he'd tear up the car, chew up the car, and tear all the seat covers off. So I couldn't put him back in the car. But most dogs I could put back in the car and then go out and take care of business, and they would just cry and whine and bark. But anyway, I digress. K-9, I've already said a long time ago, the courts need to take dogs away from cops. They don't use them. They don't enforce. You see these cops running away here? They're going to get what's called a hobble because they want to restrain his legs. He's still kicking. He's still fighting. Well, he's probably had his ass whipped. He's under influence, or he's either emotionally unstable. He's an EDP. So they're getting what's called a hobble, to where you tie the legs. I always carried a hobble on my belt because I used it quite frequently when I was fighting with people. And when you secure their legs in handcuffs, it takes the fight out of them. You don't need 14 officers leaning on them where they can't breathe, etc. Now, some agencies have outlawed hobble because it offends somebody and you shouldn't tie somebody up and it's mean and it looks cruel. So they took it away, and now you got cops like this doing a huddle on dude in a dog pile, and they end up killing the guy, and they're like, well, you know, hobbles were too mean, so we took them away. Like I said, I carried a hobble on my belt, and I was always Johnny on the spot when somebody was kicking to tie up their legs and hobble them up. And I did a video on it. But anyway, so this is this video. Let's look at another video. So I haven't watched this one yet, but there's a third one that I am going to watch, and it shows where the guy dogs him, and it shows the cops testifying. So hang around.
Broadwell dodging felony assault charges with this plea deal. In return, his attorneys say he is giving up on his dream. I was in court as he started breaking down.
And are you in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Giving up on his dream. Maybe his dream was to have a full head of hair. Rick, you can't say that. Whatever. His dream is to be out there abusing people. Look at the size of this guy. And he got a dog chewing on some dude with 15 cops holding him on the ground. This guy's a punk, and he got no business being out there. I got no freaking pity for him.
Dan, you'll have the right during the sentencing hearing to prove to
Cameron
the court
Broadwell
the existence
crying
of
while
mitigating
pleading guilty
factors
and
that
coming to
apply
grips
to
with the
the
reality he'll never again be allowed to work.
This guy ain't got much hair either. What's up with that? Rick, why are you?
In
Whatever.
law enforcement. Broadwell spent more than 10 years with the Wake County Sheriff's Office, and this video will
10 years. Here's his dog. Big, tough guy. Look at me. Ooh, I buy my shirts 3 sizes too small to make me look really buffed. A lot of cops do that. Drove me nuts. Anyway.
now be tied to his tenure. He's seen.
So this guy's not resisting, standing in the road. You've got all these other cops standing around that could have taken him into custody without using a dog. This is what kills me and why the courts, I think, are dropping a ball. How can you justify cops killing dogs, freaking chihuahuas with 2 legs and 1 eye? You can justify a cop killing a dog saying he was in fear of his life. Yet you turn around and you justify officers with 14 males around that could take this guy to the ground, and suddenly this guy has to stand here and get chewed up by this dog, and you give police and government the authority to use these dogs on people. How can you have it both ways? This is probably the most critical area of getting law enforcement in check, is the courts need to take away the K-9 from these dogs. No more attack dogs for cops. If you can't use them, you lose them. They did it with the little billy cubs. They did it with the saps. We used to have metal underneath leather. Cops got abusive and were hitting people left and right for no reason, and they outlawed them and said you can't use them anymore. They can do the same damn thing with dogs. They ought to do it. I don't know why there hasn't been a class action. I don't know why all these damn groups who are fighting for civil rights haven't gone in and gotten expert testimony on why dogs should be outlawed for law enforcement. But anyway, here's where he dogs this guy for being, whatever.
Unleashing a K-9 on Kyron Hinton.
The manner in which the K-9 was used in this case is extraordinary. And
this will send a strong message to other officers to feel like that they can abuse of power and do.
This ain't sending no damn message. This guy was a 10-year veteran getting away with this. Who thinks this? Raise your hand if you think this is the first time the guy ever did this and he just got caught. Rick, he was a good officer. He was a hero and we loved him and he was great. And this is the first time he did it. You're being mean to him. Well, that's because you're an idiot.
Do this kind of stuff, that it has to stop.
Broadwell giving back his badge and officially being fired within the last couple of hours.
It's a sad day for this office, for the citizens of our county here.
During the trial last week, we heard from a few law enforcement officials who said,
okay, so this guy's in the road. They think he's EDP. There's plenty of officers that could go up and go hands-on. When a person uses a dog, when there's officers, and again, you got to remember, cops shoot little bitty dogs in fear of their life. They are shooting them saying that they think they're going to lose their life. Yet they can turn around and attack full-grown, full-size dogs, large dogs that have been trained to attack, and they can attack people who aren't even fighting just for GP. Well, Rick, they fired him, so you can't do that. They can do it. This guy didn't violate policy. This is only because of the outrage of the community that this happened.
Hinton appeared to be suffering a mental health issue, and Broadwell consulted no one before sicking a dog on Hinton and commanding the scene.
So he comes in, Mr. Hot Dog. I got a canine. Let me handle this. I got to get a dog bite. My dog will bite. I'm a tough guy. I'm really tough. Let me get out here. And all these other cops are like, oh shit, that crazy bald cop with the dog's here. Let's get away. You see these guys moving away? That's a freaking clue.
Broadwell's attorney argues his client was only acting in the best interests of his
After he gets bit, he hits him in the head like the coward he is.
fellow brothers in blue.
There's nothing in Cameron Broadwell's background that would suggest that he had any bad motive other
Well, wait a minute.
than trying to protect the Raleigh police officers and the highway patrolmen who were on that scene that night.
Oh, nothing in his background. This guy's defending this cop. Really? Nothing in his background. The reason there's nothing in his background is because nobody does anything. Nobody calls these cops out. There's a history of... I'm about to do another article where that cop, if y'all remember that cop that passed out in his police car, he was a sergeant and he was so freaking drunk, they had to call medical aid and bust his window because he was locked inside his car in the middle of the road, drunk. 5 times the legal limit or 4 times the legal limit. And the DA did not prosecute. I mean, it's just outrageous what people are letting the government get away and promoting this tyrannical Nazi police force.
The Wake County Sheriff says the K-9 policy is currently being reviewed and it will be revised.
Oh, so it's currently being reviewed. Why didn't they review it before? Why did it take this to get it reviewed? Why haven't they gone back and looked at every time the dog's been used? Why, Rick? Because they don't want to. Government doesn't like to be held accountable by you pesky citizens. And when you don't hold them accountable and you make excuses and you run around and say things like, well, we have to support our police and most police are good and they're not all like that and we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. And until you prove they're wrong, I'm going to believe they're right. Well, that's the kind of attitude that welcomes tyranny. Here's another video. Shit, sorry, wrong video. This is the one I want to show. Sorry about that.
Are familiar with the term the thin blue line. It represents solidarity among police officers. Something.
Oh, I'm familiar with that. They have their own flag. They hijacked the American flag, disgraced it, put a blue line down the middle, and call it the thin blue line flag. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Freaking bullshit.
That's been tested here this week. Today's testimony was a chess match between defense attorneys and prosecutors and the pawns, police officers who were at the scene of the takedown of Kyron Hinton in April 2018. Hinton was in the middle of the street screaming and yelling, and the first officers on the scene calmly surrounded him.
Did you feel that Kyron Hinton was an immediate threat to you?
To me, in my opinion, to me, no.
The guy's like, man, I don't want to say this, but I got to say it. And let me see if I can get around. And okay, let me try to sneak in a no here.
Officer J.W. Gomes was among the several Raleigh police officers on the scene. He and numerous other officers have been called to testify against Wake County Sheriff's Deputy Cameron Broadwell. Broadwell arrived on the scene that night with his K-9 and quickly sicked his dog on Hinton after Hinton refused his commands to get down.
Refuse his commands. Man, quickest way to get killed in America. Refuse the Nazi freaking tyrannical police, especially bald police instructions. You either get dog bit or say they were inferior life and they beat the hell out of you.
Most of the officers said they believed Hinton was mentally ill, on drugs, or both, but they appeared uncomfortable coming out and saying what they had told SBI agents investigating.
Oh, so they think he was under the influence. It sounds like they were displaying to the cop. They were afraid he was unstable and on drugs.
The assault on Hinton. At times, prosecutors got only brief responses.
You recall if you told the SBI that you don't know about K-9 law, but that the technique was not one that you would have used in this situation?
I may have said that.
Defense.
Yeah, I may have said that. Shit. I didn't know I'd be in court testifying, but yeah, I think I did say that.
Attorneys got short answers too, but tried to show that Broadwell did not do anything wrong.
You also told the SBI agent, though, even though you would have not used the technique of deploying the K-9, that deploying the K-9 was an effective technique to subdue Mr. Hinton. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, so I wouldn't have used it, but it was effective. And I say that all the time. Just because something works doesn't mean you should do it. And just because something effective doesn't make it right. And the DA comes back with a great question after this.
Prosecution fired back.
Is there a difference in your mind between effective and appropriate?
Yes.
Would shooting Kyron Hinton probably been an effective technique?
Yes.
Nice question, Mr. Prosecutor.
Would that necessarily have been an appropriate technique in your opinion?
No.
Kyron Hinton died earlier this year from a drug overdose. It happened just one day after he received an $83,000 settlement in connection with this case. Steve, we will...
I'm not laughing. I was reading something else. So the person that won this $80,000 lawsuit, one day after he got it, he had a drug overdose. Okay, raise your hand if you think that he took the money and invested it for later in life and did not use it to buy the drugs that killed him the day after he got it. Raise your hand. Freaking big dummies.
After he received an $83,000 settlement in connection with this case. Steve, we will resume our live streaming of this trial first thing Monday morning.
All righty. Well, I guess we will end that there on the big police dog saving America caper.